Hey everyone, thank you for stopping by my channel today. Ever since I launched my channel, I have been functioning under the premise that there's more to life than looking good, but you gotta look good too. I think our physical appearance is very important and a very important aspect of who we are. It's one of the things that actually makes us feel good and gives us confidence. Beauty and all that that encompasses will always be my primary focus. And I love that it's been with me and a part of my personality ever since I was a little kid. I latched onto makeup and beauty and hair and clothes and fashion and all of that even when I was really, really young, probably before I even knew it was a thing. But there's another side to me that wants to explore our emotions, our mental health, our body. And I love the dynamics that we have with other people. All of that is really, really fascinating to me. And it is something that I would at least like to explore here on my channel. And so if that's something that you would be interested in going along the ride with me, then give this video a thumbs up. And so we just had Valentine's Day, the holiday of love. And so I decided that I wanted to take the opportunity to talk about fighting. Yes, fighting. Fighting is one of those awful things that we kind of have to endure. Actually, quite frankly, I think fighting is a very healthy thing. I do not believe that keeping things bottled up inside is healthy or good for us. It's important to express yourself to others, most especially if they piss you off, if only so that you can move past it. Fighting has to happen in a good way. Otherwise, it's only going to be a setback. You can absolutely grow and learn and progress and develop from a fight, but only if you kind of do it the right way. The key to this discussion is recognizing that you need to know these things in advance, because I promise you, when you're in the middle of a fight, you will not have the inclination, the time, or perhaps the blood pressure to delve into your brain and say, now, I know there's some techniques that might help me. Hold a minute while I try to fish them out. Yeah, that's not really gonna happen. If you have the information in advance, then your fight might work out for the best. So if you're interested in finding out my top 3 skills and techniques for having a good fight, just keep watching. Number 1. So there's that rule in grammar, I before E. Well, I'm calling this first technique I before E and you. What do I mean by that? We have a tendency when we're fighting to start a lot of our sentences with the word you. Y-O-U. You. You pissed me off. You suck. You insulted me, right? It seems pretty natural. It's what we default to, and you are clearly getting your point across when you start off your sentence with you. The problem with that is that that statement immediately becomes an accusation. You are accusing someone of doing a very bad thing. You. I mean, even as I say it right now, I'm like, I can feel tension. And I'm supposed to keep this lighthearted, right? But I feel tension because I'm like, you. So the idea here is to start your sentences with I. You can say exactly the same thing even if you start your sentence with I. Except you're not gonna say I suck. That doesn't work. But I am angry instead of you make me angry. Instead of saying you insulted me, you say I am insulted. And suddenly and immediately, the tone of the argument is brought down, or never elevates actually. Tell someone else how you are feeling personally. Start your sentences with I. And that allows the argument to keep progressing and the communication lines to stay open. By the way, do not cheat with this. Do not say, I feel insulted by you. Do not put that at the end of the sentence. So don't cheat and be like, well, I started my sentence with I am insulted, end sentence, end statement right there. So I before E and you. Number 2. My second skill or technique is to avoid all of the absolutes. You need to absolutely avoid the absolutes. What am I talking about? Those words like always and never. That is not going to make your argument go anywhere, because now when you make a statement like, it's always like this, I am always insulted, because you're not going to say you insult me. You're going to say I am insulted. But when you add always, now you just went global. You stepped outside of the actual argument that you're having at this point. You want to try to stay focused on the issue at hand. The issue at hand can potentially have a solution. If you start bringing in a whole army of other examples, well, that's going to take you all day, or the fight is going to end in a very negative place. So you don't want to use words that include everything else, like always and never. It's very inflammatory when those words pop up in an argument, so you literally just want to eliminate them from your life. Eliminate. I don't really think we could be absolute about anything anyway, except I am always right. That we can be sure of. I am always right. See? That worked. Okay, that is the only time you are allowed to use the word always. Gina is always right. So avoid the absolutes. Never use the words never and always use words that aren't those. Number 3. This one's probably the hardest. I think one of the most important skills or techniques that you can use in an argument is to listen. If two people are having a disagreement, both sides want to get their statement out. Both sides have stuff to say in a highly emotionally charged atmosphere. And if two people are talking at the same time, chances are you're going to be talking louder. And once you start talking louder, your blood pressure starts to go up, and then you open the door into saying things that you might wind up regretting later. So if you make the point and you say, you know what, okay, to yourself, you can say, I'm gonna be the bigger person. I don't suggest you say that out loud. But decide that you're going to be the bigger person and say to the other person, all right, you know what? You go ahead. What's going on? Letting someone talk also gives you the opportunity to find out where they're coming from. They may be completely off base and you have no idea. And this is why the communication between the two of you is important. So 1, you're letting that person have the floor, but 2, you're also doing research and you're gaining very valuable information. You can also use the listening skill and technique to your advantage, because I'm going to assume that you've got a lot to say as well. And now in this argument, you will then have the floor. And if you get interrupted by the other person, you get to say, excuse me, I let you talk. It is now my turn. And that's kind of hard to argue with. So it is just another way to keep blood pressures down, but also the information is flowing and the punches are not. Now, I do understand this may not apply to a number of fights out there. I mean, sometimes we are fighting about really, really big things, bigger things than I could even grasp right now in the middle of this conversation. And so I'm not in any way saying that these skills or techniques like solve the world's problems or yours. But depending on the experiences and the people that you encounter in your life, they might become helpful. They might be useful to you. So true confession. One of the reasons I even decided to make this particular video and why it was so much an interest to me is because I had to take notes on all 3 of these areas. I'm guilty of all of them. And as I became more aware of them, I could like step outside the box for like a hot minute and I could watch the arguments escalate. So I hope this was helpful for you, or at least gave you something to think about. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If you're one of my new subscribers, thank you for coming back. And if you haven't already subscribed, I would definitely appreciate it. I am on Instagram and Twitter as well, so if you have an opportunity, check me out over there. I do look forward to seeing you in my next video, which will go back to beauty because I cannot step away from that for too long. I hope you have a really good rest of the day, and in the meantime, thanks.
And it becomes ridiculously hard to maintain, becomes hard to talk, apparently. Go. That was my mother. Do I ignore my mother? I was on a roll with my statement. From afar, that text is not, there's not a lot of caps in that text, so I'm going to assume that it's not a major emergency. What the heck was I saying now? And so I wanted to take an opportunity today